So I have a friend, alikuwa ananiambia, she goes through the same thing. We were just talking. I told her, oh, I've been really off lately, feeling really down in nini. And then she was like, and what's the reason? And I was just like, trying to just gloss over it. And then she was like, Phil, no, what is the reason? I was like, hey, come strong. Like, why are you? Why?
Is it
So I had to think about it. I'd never really thought about it. Me, I was just thinking it's one of those moods. It's one of those days when I'm just having a moody day. Nini. But lately it had been happening, like the past 2 months. It had been really low up to the point of I didn't see any point in existence.
Damn.
Yeah, like existence didn't make sense. If I wasn't born again, maybe I would have been gone. Like that is the only reason why. Like it was a bit scary by the way, but that is the only reason why I don't want to go to hell. Yeah. But if it were up to me, maybe I would just go niende home niwashe jiko moto,
very fast?
I'll go sleep and die if there is no afterlife. But yeah, so it had gotten that bad. So, and she asked, and then I started thinking about it, and I was like, what? Yeah, so it connects, like, it's a series of things that led up to it. And thinking about it, it shouldn't even have been a problem because, like, right now, when you look at me, I've been doing good. I have a job, I'm getting paid. I've gotten better. Like when people look at me, they don't see any reason to be
They see
depressed.
progress.
Yeah, say bana
Last year
kodi.
ulikuwa huku, leo uko
Yeah, bana. I've known you, bana. I knew you before and after. Uko sawa. But that's when I realized that sometimes people are usually shocked, but si alikuwa sawa. Hata alikuwa na job. She'd just gotten married. Oh, she just graduated. Nini. How? It doesn't make sense. You never know. It's just internal demons, things that are unresolved. Yeah, that you just have to deal with. That you just have to sit down and really, really deal with. Yeah, so I think what I did was I went off social media, like completely. Even WhatsApp, I went off social media. And then now when I went to see a psychiatrist, they got me on antidepressants. Yeah, and you only realize, I was telling my friend, yeah, that sometimes you don't realize how bad it was until you're back to normal.
gotten out of
Yeah, now I'm okay. I was
It's
like,
funny
what?
because what you're describing, it sounds like you didn't. It's like you were drowning and you didn't realize you were drowning.
Yeah.
And your friend was like, "Yo, bro, you're going to die. Ukiendelea hivyo." Which is what makes me raise an eyebrow to these people who are self-diagnosing themselves with depression. Like, oh, I've been depressed. Oh, I'm depressed. It's so depressing. Any what one to be
Yeah.
sana,
Yeah.
adi it loses the gravity of what it is. Like it's actually a medically diagnosable condition. In fact, you're not supposed to say because you've decided that you're depressed.
Yeah.
You should be assessed by a psychiatrist and then they one enyewe kabisa uko depressed.
Yeah.
Sasa watu wenye niliachwa na chali yangu, nilikuwa nampenda, nimekuwa nikilia wiki 2 wiki 3, you're not depressed, you're just very very sad, which is fine.
Yeah.
Like that happens and you're supposed, like if you're
It's become sort of like a cop out.
and so inakuwa an excuse to not do anything because I just don't feel like doing anything today because I'm so sad because I'm still recovering and like when you're actually in the moment in going through it, you don't realize you're going through it.
You don't.
So
Yeah.
inakuhitingi baadaye, like you
Yeah.
said, after umeshatoka huko zile za
It was
enyewe I
bad.
was in a dark place.
Yeah, it was bad.
Ukikumbuka, because one of the things that comes with depression is you stop taking care of yourself completely, and it's not a conscious decision that you make, it just happens. You just doesn't feel important anymore to brush your teeth. It doesn't feel important anymore to take a shower. You don't realize that you haven't showered in 3 days. You don't even know what you've been doing for those 3 days.
You must have been in a really bad place for you not to notice that you haven't showered.
It
It
becomes,
gets there.
it's not even that, like, it becomes too much work. Like, even getting out of bed is too much. like kuamka utoke kwa bed uende inakuanga. So like for example, I have a job, sindo? So getting out of bed is stressful enough as it is. I don't want to wake up and face the world, sindo? But I have to because I'm employed and I need my salary to at least pay rent, to get life moving. So I wake up. So I will get out of bed. But in that situation, getting out of bed and going to work is more important than getting out of bed, taking a shower, brushing your teeth, taking breakfast so that you can go to work. Si mnataka niende job, nitaenda job. So you wake up, you go, you don't even look at it for clean clothes, just put on the only thing that that looks like unaiva na unatoka unaenda. Haujapiga hesabu ya marashi, sijui cologne, sijui dio nini. That is nonsense.
So tunaweza sema mimi sina depression.
Uko sawa.
Kama ulikuwa unaitafuta.
Uko
It
sawa.
take time.
Uko sawa.
It will take time.
It's tough.
Kama unakumbuka kuangalia kioo na kumake
Ati,
sure niko
it
sawa.
becomes uko like do I really need this right now? And then unapiga ile hesabu ya like, if I don't do it, will I die? No. So I'm alive. That is a win in itself for me.
Yeah.
The fact that I am dealing with this life is a win in itself. So I don't need. So taking care of myself, like those small things, brushing my teeth, going to take a shower, that is not as big as being alive. For me, that is a win. So I will come to work, and then what will I do? I need to edit or shoot something, and I will do it, but I will just do it. There is a way you can tell I've edited something and I've put effort. And then there's a way you can just tell this person just alifanya, alishikanisha, ndo aondoke hiyo story. So I will just do it like that. Si mlikuwa mnataka nifanye? Nimefanya. Exactly. And then when it becomes monotonous like that, it means I don't even have purpose in my life. I don't even have purpose in my life. So, like, that is also eating me up. Because now I don't even see any reason to go to work. So, I'm just coming just because I have to. So, unapata, it's like you're tied up. It's like you're tied up. So, you're fighting a lot because you don't want to, but you have to. So, it's two opposing forces. And then, unapata, in your head, people don't get it. So people are like, this person has just become lazy all of a sudden.
On the surface, by the way.
Yeah, unaka, you look like
the
lazy.
problem with mental illness is that
No,
I can't diagnose it just by looking at you.
Yeah.
Itakuwa tu, Jason siku hizi amejiachilia.
Exactly.
Na itaishia tu hapo.
Yeah.
Mwenye anakujali nitakwambia ndugu leo angalau mchana nywele.
Exactly.
Whatever. But for the rest itakuwa tu Jason mbona siku hizi uzembe? What is it?
You're not doing work.
Mbona unafanya kazi ovyo siku hizi? Nini mbaya?
You're not
so
working.
they may think you started taking things for granted.
Yeah.
Ama you don't care, ama you're being rebellious. They will make their own conclusions. Unknown to them, you had to fight demons just to get there that day.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now, let me ask, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
What brought you to that point? Because you don't just, unless it's something like hormonally wrong with your brain, and that sounds wrong. But unless there's a
No, yeah, there are people who are predisposed
there's
to
nothing
depression
wrong with
and
it, but
addictions.
something about the hormonal balances in your brain make it so that you're more leaning towards depression.
No, that's true.
It's not a
That's true.
psychological issue, it's a psychiatric issue, like a neurological issue.
That is true.
So kama
that is
si
true.
hiyo ni happenstance in the life that brought you to that point. It didn't happen in one day. You didn't just wake up one
No,
morning
of course, yeah,
like
and
that.
decide, yeah.
Where do you think it started?
Well, for me, let me talk about myself personally. I happen to be melancholic. Part of my temperament is melancholic, so I am very social, but then I am also melancholic. So In temperaments, like you remember you did LTI, so you have sanguines, you have cholerics, melancholies, and phlegmatics. Cholerics and sanguines are extroverted. Sanguines are more like Peter, kierere. People who just can't stop talking, people who are just always out there, nini nini, and all that. Very out there, very open with their gifts, but also very open with their faults. I tend to fall into that one. Cholerics, on the other hand, are extroverted also, but they have control issues. They are their EQ is almost zero. They are more goal-oriented. As long as things work out, that's what happens. So cholerics are people like, I would say, Paul in the Bible. Paul was choleric. And then we have melancholies. Melancholies are artsy people and creative people. Most people in the arts are melancholic. They're very moody. But then they also tend to be very specific and keen on details. And they like things this way. I would say Chama. Chama is a melancholy. He can be very moody and...
Chama
For context,
Hendrik
Chama is
Sam.
our, music director.
This is Hendrik Sam. If you know,
That
you
one,
know.
that
If
one.
you know, you know. He's our boy. So anyway, so yeah, in the Bible, I would say David. So, and then phlegmatics are just cool, laid-back people who don't have anything to say. Wamenyamaza tu, but they're very solid. They're very stable and solid people who are just quiet, hawana mambo mingi, and wametulia. Hawataki. They're very quiet, but it's not moodiness. They're just like that. They're just reserved and they're very quiet. So I'm trying to think of someone in the Bible I would say was melancholic. Luke. Okay, I'm not really sure, but I'll maybe.
We don't know much about who Luke was. as a
Yeah.
person.
Alikuwa amenyamaza.
Alikuwa amenyamaza. So yeah, melancholies are also not very outgoing. They are part of the introverts, but now for them, they express themselves in, I would say Isaac. Yeah, very quiet, stable. Ana mambo
Hata bibi
mingi.
aliletewa nyumbani.
Ana mambo mingi. Him is
Hata
okay.
vile watu walikuja kuchukua zile wealth zake.
Hivyo ndo umeamua. Peace
God
out.
aliniambia niende pale.
Exactly.
Nikabaki na hiyo.
Wagwan, that's it. That's what's up. So that's phlegmatic. So I tend to lean. No one has one temperament. We all have a mixture of them, but mostly two primary. Like you can say I'm a sun male. Sanguine is my primary, and then male is my secondary.
So it's a psychological version of itangwaje hizi vitu za zenye wasichana wanapenda kufanya.
Gani hizo?
Hizi za nini? Za stars.
Napenda vile ume direct to your eyes towards me. Like I know. No, I don't know.
That's all. You're very in touch with your feminine energy.
I'm sure you've heard of
Like you're very
Akina
empathetic.
Taurus,
You're very
akina
empathetic.
Sagittarius zinaitwa
Oh, the
zodiac sign.
zodiac
Oh,
sign.
zodiac
Unaona
sign.
hata ni nani ndo amejua hata kunishinda. He has more feminine energy.
Ni zodiac signs
Yeah,
but
I guess, yeah.
psychology.
Yeah, but temperaments, I'm not sure they're psychological, because it's something that I read. There is a very famous Christian author. So he just talked about temperaments, because I'm sure now there's a clinical psychological terms that describe that. But yeah, so I'm not really sure if they're psychological. I wouldn't go to say,
Okay.
but a lot of people usually, especially believers, they go by temperaments rather than all these other.
All these other kama these 16 personalities.
Yeah,
whatever.
sijui nini, yeah.
All that one I find to be fairly accurate for a
No,
lot
they're
of
very,
people.
yeah.
Have you taken that personality test? There's one called, it's literally called just 16 personalities, I
Yeah.
think.
Inakuanga na,
I think I've done it for fun.
Kina
Not-
INFP.
Izo. Yes. That one just
You
got
know
too
yours?
complimented.
I knew.
You
I've
you
forgotten.
forgot.
Yeah, I've forgotten.
It's too complicated, bana. I mean, I'm just like,
Yeah, mi
But
bona
when you
unajua naitwa
understand it, by
Jason.
the way, unaonanga tu kumbe ndio maana anakuanga hivi ni hawa watu. Anyway,
I'm
that
just
was
like,
besides the point.
yeah, I'm just like, it's easier to say I'm just a sun male.
Okay.
So I'm very
Me, that was
outgoing.
Sunday
Hata
Exactly.
mimi, I think I'm a sun male.
Yeah, you're also very sun male. You're a sanguine, but you're also very melancholic. So anyway, so
Wewe?
I don't know.
Michelle
Michelle
is
anakaa
very.
sun.
She's not mel. She's clomel. No, she's not clomel. She's clofleg.
Yeah, clove leg.
Meaning?
Like you have very.
But I don't think she has control issues.
Yeah. So, but she's phlegmatic, very laid back,
yeah.
very chilled. But
I
then,
would say she's sun flag.
sh is she more outgoing?
She's outgoing.
You're more outgoing than
She's
phlegmatic.
out-
Would you say you're more chilled than outgoing, or outgoing
I think the
and then
laid
chilled?
back side of it comes when she's in unfamiliar crowds.
Yeah,
But
because
then
me, I would say you're
when
very
she's
chilled
with,
out.
When she's
Yeah.
with very familiar people, she's very outgoing.
Sasa unaona, but sasa like when is she can't always be with familiar people.
Yeah, I also think pia kuna watu kama mimi wenye unless there is something particularly important that requires me to leave the house, I will not leave the house. I can stay in the house for a whole month and be fine. But the people who feel uneasy,
That's a phlegmatic.
I've been in
That's
the
a
house for a
phlegmatic.
week. Sijatoka
That's a
kwa nyumba, wana
phlegmatic.
feelingi hapana.
That's a sanguine.
Yeah.
That's a
Huyo
sanguine.
ni mimi.
That's a sanguine or a
Aye,
choleric.
this is
Mse.
couple
Jason
soldier.
who shinda tu maraundi tu.
Aye.
Sundays is like naishia. Naishia.
Tonana.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
sometimes
so
that's not me.
yes.
But if my friends are coming together somewhere,
No,
then
for sure.
I will definitely
Utafunguka,
show
that's
up.
the sun, that's the sanguine in you now.
okay.
The outgoing bit.
So
Sasa.
tunaweza sema ni flag sun.
Yeah, she's flag sun. Yeah. Though I was also wondering, because she's also very, that's just being female. She's just very, amejipanga.
that's
She's
feminine
just,
energy.
that's just feminine energy, yeah. Like she's, like even the way she's been doing things for the podcast. Ametupanga, she's always nini, arranging things. Like, yeah, so.
She's the one that comes up with the questions. as well.
Yeah, that threw me off. I was like, that looks very choleric, but she also doesn't come off, and she's also very empathetic. So there's that. Yeah,
Maybe I'm an enigma.
yeah, you're just there.
Just
Yeah,
genuine
You
enigma,
can't put
so-
me in a box.
yeah.
Anyway, so you were explaining.
So
your
yeah, but
melancholic
anyway, yeah.
issues.
If you guys remember, when I came to ROG, I was now at that point. So there are levels to depression. There is mild to extreme depression. So mimi nilikuwa naenda
It was the
kwa
extreme
extreme.
end.
I remember I went to see. You remember Jody? I went to see her. Pastor Jody, you don't remember? She went to Australia. Yeah. She was a trained psychologist. So I remember I went to see her. Then we talked for a while. So what they do is they open files for you because you are a new client. So they open files to you according to how badly off you are. So it's from white to black. So me, I remember she just went direct to black. Yeah, she went direct to black. When I came to ROG, it was bad. But then it was because, Fetty here knows. So I'd gotten myself into a bit of trouble. Like I remember, that's when I remember telling you guys, if you also have any episode about addictions and gambling, I'm there. Because I remember I'd gotten myself addicted to gambling. So ile time sport pesa ilikuwa imecome out na betting.
actual sport.
It was actually a sport, bro. So I remember, I'd gotten into it and it stopped being like just something to do for fun. And after a while, I didn't realize it had become an addiction until nikipata 20 bob naeka ni bet. It didn't even make sense. No, because 20 bob itakupea how much, honestly.
No, but see, addiction doesn't make sense.
Exactly. Unaona. So due to that, I'd messed up my life so much because I'd stopped paying school fees. I had to drop out of school because like my parents were expecting me to graduate, but I couldn't continue with school because sijalipa fees. So I can't even do exams, vitu kama hizo. So it had gotten so bad and I'd even stopped going for classes. Nini. So I remember at some point I was just like, I just need to go somewhere, like just somewhere where I wouldn't have stress. So I remember that's how I came to ROG. But I wasn't even coming to ROG. I was coming to talk to Pastor Carol, our pastor here now, associate pastor here at ROG. So yeah, I was actually coming to see her because she'd helped me before. We'd been friends for a while. She'd known me since I was a bit young, like, yeah. So I was just coming for help, by the way. And if you know Pastor Carol, she's not the empathetic type. But one thing I know about her is, like, she will always create environment.
Yeah.
She won't be there to mother
She's
you.
not fluffy, cuddly,
Yes.
but you know she cares.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I know she cares. I knew whatever happened, she'd sort it out. So me, I just came, and then she was like, I remember the first day I came, she was like, I hadn't seen her in like 5 years, by the way. So I just showed up one Sunday, and then she saw me, and she wasn't even surprised. She was like, "Oh, you've come." Okay, I think she saw I was just run down because I was at that stage. I wasn't taking care of myself. If you see my ID, manywele zangu zilikuwa tu, like I had just stopped taking care of myself. I was thin. I was almost skeletal. So I remember just coming, and then I think she looked at me and she was like,
Okay, finally you've come. Sawa.
"You've come."
Karibu kiti.
And she was like, because now, see, the media office, you remember, was uko kwa ministry. Uko. So she was like, "Oh, umekuja. Enda ukatafute Thaya uko." That was it.
That was it.
That was it for me. Like, I came, that's how I joined Thaya and the media team, which didn't even exist back then. That's how I started staying in church. No questions asked, nini nini. Yeah, so when that happened, like you asked, the question you asked.
I'd really like to comment how she welcomed you, because I'd imagine in that position, the last thing you want is 1,000,001 questions.
Yeah,
The
no.
last thing you want is people to be like, Aya, are you okay? What's the problem? How? What happened?
What did you do?
Answering
Like, yeah.
all those questions.
Alafu zinakuja quick fire.
Yeah.
And atakuwa na follow up questions. So you're already in a dark place because you realize that you have made all these mistakes.
Yeah.
Now you're here and you have no idea where to start.
Exactly.
So wewe kujibu hizo maswali reinforce whatever you're already feeling.
Yes.
Which is what will make people who are going through that phase want to isolate themselves.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Just
Yes.
asking maswali.
Yes.
I know the answers to those questions.
Yes.
I don't want to answer them because they're just going to make me feel worse.
Exactly.
And then if
yes.
you ask me what the way forward is, I don't know.
Eh, unataka ni do. That's why I'm here. Eh, that's why nimekaa mazee.
So I'm just being like, oh, okay, you're here. Then here's your next task.
Yeah, just go.
And just acting like nothing has happened. Ni kama ulikuwa umeenda kwa duka ukarudi na
Yeah.
I feel like that was amazing.
It was a very parental thing
Yeah.
to do. Like for me, she's always been very motherly to me. So it was more of like, sasa nitafanya. I can't throw you away. you just come. It was just like, because I remember my dad had thrown me at her, by the way. I remember he was like, now, Shika, he's your problem now. He's your problem now. He literally told her that, by the way. He's your problem now. And so, yeah, so when I came, she was like, and she just sorted everything else. Like, I remember we talked about my problems in 2019, and I came here in 2018, January. And we talked about it in 2019, like a year plus later. And she was like, of all the dumb things you could ever be addicted to, gambling, losing money. Aje sasa. Like of all the stupid things, yani. And then, but you see, at that time, I wasn't at that place. I wasn't at that place yet, and I had gotten better. So that's what she did. But anyway, long story forward, like what happened is that's when depression kicked in the first time for me. Like I feel like I'd gotten myself into a problem and I didn't know how to get out of it. I didn't know how to ask for help because mazee siwezi enda home, nini. So it was just stewing in my head. And, I continued isolating myself and all that. So that's how it happened the first time. So when I came here, the interesting, she gave me a task. She gave me something to do. She gave me purpose. You know, at the time, chukua, cause si unasomea media. Chukua camera, piganga mapicha, ziedit, post. And Thaya, the guy at the time who was like in charge, was also very open. He didn't ask questions. He was like, hey, umekam, mazee. Nimekuwa na choka huku. Shika, he'd leave the comp for me. Like, because he worked at night. So during the day, ananiachia computer, you edit, learn. Like, I learned how to edit here at church. I learned how to shoot. School was just school. They never really teach you how to do it hands-on.
Yeah.
Here, sasa ndio nilienda YouTube, nika learn how to edit, how to shoot. So I got purpose. And I continued. I met one of our pastors back then. He walked through it. Eventually, I faced my parents, talked about it. I even got over that particular addiction, like sports pesa, the gambling, like hadi siku hizi niko like, yeah, mi niko sawa, you know? Eventually, so yeah, and then I always say COVID happened for me because it stopped, like the world was on hold, and now COVID got me a job, and then now COVID, like, sasa growth happened during COVID and forward. You know, so that's how the first time, like, I guess I got over depression, like without medication or anything. Because during COVID, like, there was no time to breathe. I was just working, you know, so I didn't have time for myself. Recently, I would say it relapsed because I've just been I've reached a place where I don't really trust myself with the future. And you know, I'm growing old. I'm turning 30 this year. So for me, that's old. I'm like, it's just the other day I was 24. What's going on? So for me, that's pressure. And if you know society, there's pressure for even here in church. People are like, now, you know, you're next. You know, like how marriage is like, yeah, sasa chama when you're next. You know those two jokes hapa na pale. But Pastor Caro is always like, oh, I pray for my children, wapate sons, and get good wives. And I'm like, like, really? I don't need this now, you know? And also, so yeah, I've reached, so there's that, the future is untold for me. And then looking at the future and then looking at the past, because I also tend to be quite logical, I'm like, this is how I've messed up the past 10 years of my life. What happens in the next 10? And now, like, the next 10, I'm expected to marry someone's daughter. Like, I'm expected to, you know, get children, nini. What happens if I mess up that? Because my track record hasn't been good. So that has been going in my head. And then also the fact that I'm not really doing my purpose. When, like, yes, I'm shooting, I'm editing, I'm nini here, but that's not really my purpose. My time, I feel like it's gotten monotonous. And so I'm also not doing something I love, you know. When I was in school, even when I was depressed, I was still hosting on the school's radio station. And that was something I would do without even being paid, because that is something I love doing. That is something I love doing. That is where my gifting is. So here, like, it was sort of, I would say for me, it was sort of like a break. This was sort of like a hospital. So God brought me through this period. Rehab. And I'm good now. But the fact that I'm still here, like, it's becoming, exactly, I've stagnated. Because now I'm good. I'm good. Like, I've learned everything I need to learn here. Like, and you know, I'm very good at, I wouldn't say mentorship, but also bringing people along. And I already have a team. Jason is here, so I'm not really needed.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the youth thing. Ilifika place where
You are needed because wait, I was like,
you're saying what I'm going to do. Unaenda kuona what I did.
You are needed
I've done.
because yes, you have mentored me, and I'm really grateful.
And
for
you are
that.
there,
And
umeiva.
I'm
Eh.
there. But there are things that you do that I can't. Like, I am very good at what I do, but I'm not Chama level, because Chama can do what I can do and much more. So you saying that you're not needed? No, you are very much needed.
I
You are
don't
very
know.
much needed.
Can I, let me to interject?
Yeah, for sure.
like sometimes a part of the reason for this surge, because it seems like there's been a surge of mental health issues
Yeah, for sure. For
among
sure.
people.
Mm.
I think it might be our perspective sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Because, for example, and I'm not trying to solve your problems, I'm just thinking here.
Yes, Dr. Michelle.
So, the first one was your uncertainty about the future.
Yeah, for sure. Mm.
And your past doesn't really, you don't trust yourself.
My
because
track
of how-
record, yeah.
Track record isn't very good, so it's
Yeah.
not giving you a lot of confidence.
Yeah.
And you feel like you have outgrown this place now. You need a bigger nest so you can stretch your wings. And
Yes, basically.
none of that is unusual.
Okay.
Nikisema everyone goes through that in a sound like I'm demean what you're going through.
Mm-hmm.
But it happens in every stage of life.
Yeah.
It will happen now. It will happen when you turn 40. It will happen when you turn 50, when you turn 60. It happens every decade of your life. And it's supposed to happen.
Oh.
Because who you were in that past decade is who you needed to be to learn what you learned. But now this new decade has a whole new list of requirements from you.
Bana.
It's like when you're born, all you have to do is eat and sleep. Those are your only responsibilities as an infant. Eat, sleep, done.
Good old days.
And then, then you start school, and then it's eat, sleep, study. That's it. All you have. That is all life requires from you. And then you get to play once in a while. Sawa basi. Then you turn 10, and society becomes important all of a sudden. Because
Yeah.
kids have friends, but their friendships are not serious.
Yes, yes.
Mtakosana sahi 5 minutes later you're playing together.
Yes.
Make forgive.
You know? Hapo hivyo 11, 12, 13 as you're approaching adolescence, now even your brain is expanding because you're getting to that point where you need a community around you. See, before the community was instilled for you. Your parents were there, and they had all your friends at the time were your parents' friends and your neighbors. But now you're growing towards a place where you need to create your own community for yourself. To do that, you need to learn how to work with people and how to interact with them and how to create those connections for yourself. So you start becoming more aware of how your friends see you and how you relate with this person. And that's why teenagers are so sensitive about their friendships. And things
Yeah,
like that.
for
That's
sure.
why they don't want to stay at home.
Yes.
Because, no, I need to go out and find my own
Exactly.
because I can't stay here forever.
Yeah.
It's a psychological thing. So you see, if that teenager behaves the same way they were behaving when they were 7, they will really struggle. You need to adapt to
Yeah.
this new decade.
Yeah.
And then when you turn 20, there's a new thing. When you turn 30, there's a new thing, married or not.
Hey.
See?
Family or
So
not.
if I'm 30 and I have a family, then my life is about my family. But minus my own children, they're still my siblings and my parents. That is still there. They are also going through a new phase in life. When
Yes.
you're turning 40, that's when a lot of people's parents are getting now, age is starting to catch up to them. Oh, nani ako na sijui this and that, God forbid. But you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The outgrowing things and feeling like you're entering a new phase in life it's part of life. It's like outgrowing a pair of shoes when you're growing up as a child.
Now I
It's-
need to get new shoes.
And now you need new shoes. And now you need to decide which kind of shoes do I like this time round. Do I
Yeah.
still want to buy Dunks or this? No. So it's don't feel like there's a crisis because of that. It's just you just figuring it out like the rest
Yeah.
of it. The track record, from my point of view, is actually quite positive, to be honest. Because you see, may know someone who's in his 40s and still neck deep in their addiction. No.
Yeah.
The fact that you were actually able to get out of it
Yeah.
is proof that whatever you get yourself into, you can get out
Yeah.
if you decide. No.
God will get you out.
Yeah.
God will get you
With
out.
the right
'cause-
support, and
Yeah.
God is always there.
Yeah,
Is he
like,
not?
yeah.
So come in,
Even
God will
while
get
you were
you
neck
out.
deep.
Hey, he was still
No,
there.
like for sure.
So even as you're neck deep, he's just waiting for you to decide it's time. He's like, oh, you've decided, sawa basi kuja toka.
Let's move.
No.
Yeah.
And God will never not be there.
Yeah.
So one, tumesema kila mtu hata mimi naelekea hapo.
You are about to.
I see it coming.
Yeah.
Two, God is always there. So there's also, I think, a feeling, existential crisis. Inakujanga na a certain feeling of helplessness. It's almost as if there's nothing I can do about it. And I feel like the only thing that we are truly helpless about is one, other people's decisions, and two, death.
Yeah.
Once they're gone, hapo wenyewe kabisa, there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
But there's also nothing I can do about whether you decide to slap me. Unaona? I can try and block it before it lands, but that is a decision that you made.
Why are you looking at just from feminine energy to violent energy?
No, I'm slapping people now.
Jason, what's going on? Michelle. If you need to say sorry, you apologize.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Usifall into depression.
Kwa hizo hizo naona tu Michelle. And if you decide to slap me.
Okay. It shows she's comfortable with me, but
To that extent.
yeah, let me tell you. It was, I think, yesterday I was with Muturi. Muturi is a very good friend of mine.
Yes.
So we went to we went to a jazzy store, and then nime digress, but we went to a jazzy store. We went to a jazzy store, and he wanted a Chelsea jersey, because I've never seen him with a Chelsea jersey.
Yes.
Sorry. And I was like, there's no way you're a fake supporter like that. I have jerseys the past 2 seasons where utaona you need to get one. So I was like, okay, fine. So we went, got him one, and then he wanted another one, which he will print his name.
Of course he
so
did.
He printed his name, and he was like, so if Ashwari decides to ask for a jersey from me, I will give her this one. And
Wow.
print Gina.
Wow.
And I was like,
Wow, Muturi.
no way. This jersey looks too good for you to give it away.
Yes.
If you want to give it away, I will represent every other Shori. And
Give it to me.
Give it to me.
Give it to me.
And then I was like, okay, I would not comfortably tell that to any other guy.
Yes.
Because that just
Now,
shows,
yes.
it gives off some gay energy.
Yes, like, do we
But-
call you she?
Yeah. But to be very honest, as in, like, I'm so comfortable with Muturi
Yes.
that it doesn't feel
Yeah, he just took it in
awkward,
stride.
yeah.
I remember even you guys joking about, like, where's my boyfriend? You
Yeah,
remember?
yeah.
I remember those jokes. We were like, what? Okay.
I think unintentionally that story also explains what I'm trying to say. Where if he decides to give that jersey to Ashori, who are you? What will you do? So utakuja upate tu alishapeana.
Yeah.
You can't control what he
Jason will throw a tantrum and
I
guilt
will.
trip him for the rest of his life.
Jersey
Ishaenda
Ishaenda.
atanunua ingine.
Kwani tajam.
Atajam.
Umejam.
Umejam.
And then I stopped jamming because you've acknowledged that
Nimejam. I think your relationship with Muturi is for me, it's one of those really interesting. I just love how you guys are like that, you know.
Muturi is very camera shy.
Si lazima kuwe na kamera.
Pigeni tu ma story tu kwa mic tu.
But you see, our friendship is better visually than just listening to us
Sasa
talk.
muingize box basi mguilt trip mpaka.
So una guilt
Nishamuingiza
trip
box
anaenda
akwe
camp.
mshte yangu.
That was already enough. That was hard enough.
I'm comfortable with him as a friend.
Ushashinda,
If he doesn't want to be
uko
on
tu
camera,
sawa.
it's fine. I will represent him.
You're leaving a lot of money on the table. Unajua Fuad alibeba juu yako tu. But again, we digress.
You digress. He is James. He is James. Kabisa.
Imagine, you're not the only people that have said that.
You are James.
Yeah, so many people liken our relationship to James and Fuad.
You are
And
James.
I'm the James.
Them that are making money off of their friendship.
So we're just saying.
We can make money with this friendship. The reason why I brought up that story was because
Oh yeah, the way she is like, hey,
and the way she's comfortable with just using me as every positive and
negative example in existence. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a point number 3. Now you make me forget my point number 3. What was the other one?
I hope
There
it
was the
didn't
future.
involve me as an example.
There was the future. Oh, nilikuwa nasema story of feeling helpless.
Yes.
a lot of the time we have more power than we actually think we have,
Mm,
to be very honest.
true.
Ni vile tu, we give that fear too much power. So using Gen Zs as an example, for the longest time, millennials and Gen Xs have seen Gen Z as the fragile, frail, handled with care, kamama kababa generation.
Don't know what to do.
This, you know, kitu kidogo ashalia, kitu kidogo amesiji, oh. But who are in the streets smoking tear gas? Sini Gen Z.
Ora.
See,
Or
one
live
million.
bullets, and they've still decided no.
Yeah.
Bado hatusikii.
We've lost
We are not backing
RIP
down.
to our fallen soldiers.
That is very far from fragile.
Yeah, for sure.
Wangekuwa walisha give up kitambo, but they have decided we know what you are fighting for, and we decided we are not giving up. You can try, because we are not going to sit here and watch our country turn into sijui Algeria or some other African country that has never known stability.
Yeah.
But if we listened to what the other people were saying about us and believed that, tungebaki in that cocoon. So it would seem that sometimes, like you said, you just need purpose.
Yeah, you just need purpose.
You need a reason to
Yeah.
show your might, to show your strength.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be like a come to Jesus moment, a Damascus moment where the Lord himself
Shows up.
and tells you, Jason, this is your purpose.
Yeah.
Or a Balaam moment.
Yeah, get a
Your
donkey.
Your donkey decides to
Your
talk to
cat.
you.
In this case,
Decides,
just your kavits decide I'm not going.
So, it can be something as simple as, like you said, you were just given one task
Yeah.
to another.
Yeah, just got a
Take
task.
this, do this.
Yeah.
Take this, do that.
Yeah.
That is enough to give you. There's a series I've started watching recently, ya kitambo, but inaitwa The Rookie. The Rookie.
Yeah, Dylan. What's his name? The guy who acted not House.
Msiulize kuhusu actors, but one of the characters anaitwa Jim Nolan.
Yes,
Yes,
Jim
that one.
Nolan. Yes. I know it. Ni ya kitambo hiyo.
Iko sijui season 5
Sasa kitambo
Bado
sana.
inaendelea.
sawa.
I was like, what?
Sasa kitambo sana.
So mimi nilianza
Chen na Tim wameachana.
sasa toka.
Allegedly then.
So one time Nolan is trying to talk someone off the ledge. This bride just found out that her husband to be was cheating on her with sijui her sister.
Damn.
And
What?
sijui she had left her job in a different city, in a different state, to come and marry this man and start a new life
Yeah.
together. And now, so she decided, now my life is over. I have nothing
Yeah,
to
I'm
live
done.
for. Tim, his kind of advice to her, not really advice, his formula for when he was in a similar place was he would buy a lottery ticket, and not necessarily to win, but you know, if you bought it, there's still like a chance you might win.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he would hang on long enough to see whether he won or not. So kama amenunua leo Monday, at least until next Monday,
Monday.
niko naka ka receipt ka kuniambia
Usiende before uone.
sasa tuone kama ni
Nimeshinda.
sawa,
Wacha
basi.
nunue ingine.
Mando ananunua ingine. That ka lottery ticket gave him just enough hope to see it through to the end of the year.
Yeah.
And the next one, and
Yes.
the next one.
Yes.
And honestly, sometimes that's just all you need.
That lottery ticket.
That ka lottery ticket ka something ka, all I need to do today is this. Just make it till Sunday. I'ma just make it till this day. And it will keep you going between now and then.
Yeah.
And in the process, you realize you actually have more power than you thought you did. You really are not a victim of your circumstances. You're there. The circumstances are there. We're not denying that they're there. But there's still something you can do about it. You know?
And also, sorry to cut you short, but just thinking about your story and how you are in this break and now you feel like you are stagnating and all. Generally, I don't think or rather, I don't see it as you being stagnated at a point. Because if you look at it, you are in a place where you are so low that even interacting with people was a problem.
You would know.
Yeah, I would know. That interacting with people was a hassle, and slowly by slowly, you just being here, God has enabled you to shift that narrative. Because now you're surrounded with people who are very outgoing, people who will always talk to you, people who will always inquire something from you, and not any one of those people are laid back and to themselves. Just look at the people who are around you. Not any one of them. Like, you will be forced to have a conversation. You
So
will be forced to
irritating.
engage with people. And you see, I'm looking at it as probably this is God just trying to undo what you thought you were. You thought you're this guy that, I'll just keep to myself. I don't do this until it's 11 a.m. in the morning when I've woken up nicely. But then there's two people who will come at 8 a.m. and are loud.
Bana, making noise from the gate. Like, what is wrong with you
At
people?
7 a.m., I want to sleep, but there are people who are already talking about football somewhere. And like, Sasa, God has just put these people around you to just change that particular ideology about yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of now growing you to be the person that he wants you to be, probably in the next stage of life, that you're anxious about, that you're looking forward. And probably in that next stage, you'll be forced to now talk to people and interact with people and, show direction or probably give advice here and there. And if you take this as a challenge, then it won't mold you into the person that God is trying to mold you to be.
Kwanza the fact that umeweza kufika to your point and I feel like I need to grow beyond this. But when you need testimony already on it, like, you have gone from doing the bare minimum to learning so much, to learning as much as you feel you can possibly learn in this environment. Yani, everything that you could learn here, you've learned and finished.
Yeah.
So you're looking for a new place to go learn.
And he's taught.
Come on.
He's
Come on.
nurtured, he's taught, he's mentored. Unknowingly.
That was by force. You just wouldn't give up.
You guys.
Yeah, him wouldn't
God
give
was
up.
using me.
Hey, God, him he wasn't giving up. What?
And I agree with you about that can be also like God forcing you out of what you thought you were into who you actually are. Because sometimes being in that state of depression, kuna venye akili you adapt.
Yeah.
Naona ni kama vile overthinkers and people who tend to be anxious. Psychologists, the papers I've read explain that it's your brain's response to at some point being neglected or feeling helpless. So because you never want to be in that position again, you will try and think of every possible scenario so that you can prepare yourself for each and every single one of those scenarios.
Yeah.
Eventually it becomes stress and overthinking and it cripples you in and of itself.
Yeah.
But you see where it's come from. It's come from where you're trying to protect yourself in one way or another.
Yeah.
So hii maneno ya depression pia in some ways pia inakuanga hivyo. You develop certain habits because it's easier to keep the peace in your mind if there isn't a lot of noise around you. It's like, if I can just hey ushaikuwa na deadline na unatry kufocus and I need to get this done. Vile utaweka earphones na weke, like you want to lock yourself in a room, zero distractions, just to get this done before the deadline. Now with someone who's like depressed, distraction is existence. Like how hard it is to sasa your deadline ni kuamka asubuhi.
Yeah.
The amount of effort that it takes to get yourself to get up and go ati cook ati nikule alafu sijui ni kazi mob. So utapata una gravitate to towards nataka tu kitu menyamaza, because one more impulse for my brain to interpret is too much work.
Yes. That
Unaona?
is, yeah, that's
So
true.
now sasa umekuja uniangalia, now I'm supposed to understand your feelings and then now accommodate your, I'm having mine alone are overwhelming. But now as you're healing from it, start to also stretch. Kuna vile tuenda physiotherapy after
Yeah.
living in a coma for a while.
Yeah.
So ilikuwa emotional physiotherapy. And anyone who's been to physio can tell you physio is not fun.
Yeah.
It's
Physio
not.
is painful. It's actually very painful. So it was uncomfortable to our purpose.
Hey.
So
But the fact that you're here to us,
I think maybe I would just say, like, honestly, for anyone out there, like depressed or going through some issue, there's never really 10 ways to get out of depression, and number 10 will shock you. There's never really 10
so
ways.
stop watching that YouTube video.
As in, I mean, and even therapy and, you know, all that can only do so much. But at the core of it, you just need a reason to be alive. You need a reason to be alive. And for me, it's very cliche, but I would just say, try Jesus. That is all I would say, honestly. Just, the thing is, if there was no God, if there is no God, and existence is just, the universe is just a probability of chance that happened, then the truth is, don't waste your time. Just go ahead and do it. Because there's no reason, there's no afterlife. Why should you be here? But if there is a God, and lately science has been proving there is a God, whether you like it or not, you just knowing, just throw yourself in Him, in whichever space you are. Just throw yourself in Him. The truth is, personally, Mimi, I came to church because that's where I knew God was, in a person, through a person. That person showed God to me. I saw God through that person. And then now I met the rest of my friends here, church and all that. And not everyone was friendly. I remember there's a day I'd just joined, and the same pastor who got me and walked me through the whole addiction problem and he mentored me here and there. There's a day we were seated, and you guys, you know, shoris in Aroji can give you stress, by the way. Can give you pressure, bana. So I remember I was just there looking all shaggy. Me, I'm just depressed in peace. Mimi, I didn't want stress. So it was Kina Michelle, Glado, Glow, Nini. So that pastor, outside to Apple Children's Church, outside ministry office. And then, I don't think I've ever forgiven him. Or if I have, it was by force. I didn't want to. And then he was like, he was telling me something about my hair now. So he was like, sasa unakaaje? You know, and then he turned to the girls and he was like, would any of you guys date someone like this? I was like, guy, I just shriveled inside. No, they didn't say anything. No, they didn't say anything.
No, you are a witness and you are an audience. Michelle, at least
even Michelle has taken me through a lot, by the way. She's taken me through a lot, bana. Even mimi, the love of Jesus.
Wow.
The love of Jesus. Michelle will give you a statement. Ikukate ukue like, guys, sasa mimi nimedu. I was just trying to fit in. Like twice. But I'll tell you after. Yeah, but
Kama unataka
the tea.
The tea.
We have episodes after.
Yes, make sure you like, share, and subscribe.
Holy Communion episodes, not drunk episodes. Holy Communion episodes. But yeah, like what I would like to say is, even in that environment, even through the tough stuff, because I didn't come here and stop betting. I continued betting even when I was here until I stopped, until God helped me stop. So eventually here I am. So I would just say, just wejirushe tu kwa God. So just
Let God do the work.
let God do the work. See, he says he's your father. Imagine it's not your problem, it's his problem. You just, it will work out. I don't know how. I don't even know how it's worked out for me. If he has to create some huge virus in existence to stop the world for you to get better, he will. He will. Yeah, he did it for me, because that's how I got a job. Everyone was crying, oh, I got a job, and I continued getting paychecks, and my salary continued increasing. I got better at what I do. Like, yeah, so
hear you.
if he needs to, whatever he needs to do, he will do. So you just, in fact, don't even think about anything. Just throw yourself to God, and don't look at people. Look at God. Don't look at people. Look at God, because eventually we are all humans and we will all fall. If you put your trust in man, the Bible says you are cursed.
That therapist.
Even that therapist I'm going to, when I'm going to see him, I always say, I thank God because I'm here. So, and I know he will get me out of it. You know, you might not see it, you might not, nini, but here's what I would say. If your story is going to end anyway, why not end it with God? What do you have to lose? Eventually, because me, I've been depressed and I had nothing to lose. Why not? Whether you're with God or not, doesn't really hurt. But if you're with God, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. So yeah, like, just, that is what I would say. I don't have steps. I don't have, sijui nini.
And I think
God.
also, like, you're never too far gone.
Yeah.
There's a verse in, I think, the book of Psalms, where David says, even if I make my bed in hell,
Yeah.
you are there with me.
Yes.
So think about it.
Yeah.
However far you've fallen, surely
Sure.
you're not in the depths of hell.
Yeah.
And even if you are,
He's
there
there.
with you.
Exactly.
So all you have to, ni kama to, the way I'm turning like this or like this to look at this, guys, God is there with you. And yeah, so there are no secrets with God. Ati vile tuseme kama unataka kuja kuniambia utaficha wide, ati you'll tell me half the story and then not the other half, and then you'll hide this and that. He already knows everything, so you might as well. And he already knows everything. He's there with you. He knows everything you've done and you're still alive. At any moment, thunder inge Najua nuhuzo nasamanga nini?
Thunder may strike you.
Thunder strike, which is really like lightning. Yeah, lightning can strike you
lightning
at any moment.
strike.
Gari kugonge hapa ukufe when he's decided he's done, but you're alive, so he's not done with you.
Exactly.
And he knows exactly where you're at, and he knows the journey from where you're at to where he needs you to be. So you need to trust that he will lead you there. So don't give up on yourself when God hasn't given up on you. You're still alive, you're still breathing, there's still hope. So continue in Jesus. That small, kind of like a Bible, ka blue kana kunga.
Good news.
Gideon's Bible.
Gideon's Bible. Gideon's,
Kama
yes.
nika Gideon's Bible utatafuta mahali uchukue, ama ni Bible download kwa simu.
It's everywhere.
You and Jesus.
Anza na hiyo Gideons ya simu utaingia TikTok.
True. And like Chama is saying, there's no formula.
Just
Take that Bible and start reading it. Acha kukua na you have to interpret it.
read.
Understand. Pray in tongues. Checky.
Read.
That is not where you're at right now. You just ungesoma novel fungua. Soma.
Yeah.
Kazi ya interpretation ya Holy Spirit. He will he will teach you what he needs you to know for where you're at.
Yeah.
All you have to do is pick up that book and read.
Hallelujah.
And I think the most important thing to get out of this particular episode is what we were trying to show is there is no problem too big and there is no challenge that can now make you feel like the world is ending. In as much as you feel like it is, there's no challenge too big for God. There's no problem too difficult for God to solve. And just like Chama said, throw yourself to Christ. I remember there was a time when I came to Chama and I talked to him, not knowing that he was actually also dealing with his own problems. Me, I just came focused on my own problems. And then later on I found out, oh, he has problems too. But as I was talking to him, he was so, open and welcoming. And I just felt like I connected with someone. And that's the thing. You never know who you talk to that actually makes your problem less. And that person that said a problem shared is a problem half solved made a lot of sense, because if you keep it to yourself, there is no solution that will come out of now your own imagination just because you kept the problem to yourself. Talk to someone, find someone who is a bit older or someone that you're comfortable talking to, because also not everyone is for you. Human beings are so selfish, so not
That's
everyone
true.
is for you.
That's
So
true.
just find someone that you're comfortable talking to, and someone older whom you can share your problem with. And most importantly, someone who is saved, someone who knows the Lord, that will always point you to Christ.
Yeah.
In as much as you're trying to solve that problem, he or she will still point you to Christ, because that is the ultimate savior.
Exactly.
That is the ultimate solution giver.
Amen.
And yeah, that was the whole. If you've not gotten anything
Get
from this
that.
episode, get
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And okay, hii story ya points kukuja last minute si poa. But nimekumbuka there are actually instances in the Bible where prophets of God suffered depression.
Elijah.
Elijah was one of them.
Elijah was depressed.
Ile serious lady alikuwa anauliza Mungu sunichukue because what else am I doing here?
Yeah.
So this person wants to kill me. I'm the only one left. God is interesting because kwanza kamuuliza na amekwambia you're the only one left. Why are you making assumptions?
Yeah.
I have a remnant somewhere hidden. Relax.
You think you
But
think
I think
Lamentations was a joke?
It wasn't.
That is someone's depression.
Someone
That is a whole book of
just
someone's
hopelessness.
lamenting.
One crying.
Nazushia God.
Hata Solomon akiandika nini tuaje Ecclesiastes. Vanity of vanities. Si ni ile tu the same thing they say.
Like,
life is pointless. What is the point of anything? I'm gonna die anyway. So why bother? But God there to thought Solomon Mungu akadili naye pole pole tu until eventually akafika kusema, you know what? This is the whole duty of man. To love God and keep his commandments.
bas.
Mwache overcomplicate life.
Hii maisha
Kazi yako yote kwa hii dunia ni kupenda Mungu and keep his commandments. Period. Everything else itajipanga.
Yeah.
Pia
Itajipa.
I don't remember if it was Elijah bado mwenye alipewa food akaambiwa alale.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
Elijah.
Elijah.
Alikuwa amefikishwa hapo.
Alikuwa amefika hapo.
Mbwa we doze.
I God akatuma malaika is like listen bro relax.
Just eat and
Anyway,
sleep.
hii depression yako ni ya food.
Ninja inakusumbua. Alafu ninja endo ameforce ikue.
Na ninja of his own creation.
Ni yeye ameita fast.
So you see. What's my point? God isn't blind, and there's nothing unusual about going through seasons of depression. Life can be very, very hard sometimes,
We.
and God is well aware. And the solution for your depression is different for different people.
Yeah.
The solution is God, but the route God takes with each person is
It's different, very different.
Elijah aliambiwa kula ulale. Job aliulizwa wewe ulikuwa wapi nikiumba dunia?
Who do you think you are,
Who do you think
basically?
you are?
Solomon alipewa tu time.
To get over it. To get over himself.
Hiyo wisdom yote na uko depressed.
Na uwezi fikiria, wewe acha ujinga bana.
Endelea kumedi kidogo. Utafika. So for as long the one thing all these guys have in common is that they stood with God.
Yeah.
They walked with him. So just keep wewe na Mungu soko kwa bako, msikae mbali from each other.
Yeah.
He will be there for you.
And
Yeah.
the way Michelle has said that God takes people through different processes of dealing with depression, suicide is never one of them.
True.
Suicide is never a God's way of dealing with
Yeah.
depression. So don't do the Lord's work for him.
If he's
by-
done with you,
yeah.
he'll let you know.
Yeah,
He'll
if
take
he's-
you home.
He will
Yeah.
take you home.
Yeah.
Just let him work on you. Don't do his work for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Hallelujah.
unless nafungia mtu.
Hallelujah.
That being said,
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord.
make sure you like, share, and subscribe
Yes.
for this and more episodes. And yeah,
Comments, guys. If you disagree, if we have spoken out of ignorance, and
If
you're
we
a
have
psychiatrist
triggered
and
you.
know we have said something wrong, please correct us.
If we have
but I don't
triggered
think
you,
we've said anything wrong because you kweli seek God. The psychiatrist will help you deal with physical issues, but God will deliver you. God will actually, make that depression non-existent. Because psychiatrist anaweza kuongelesha leo, kesho urudi.
There used to be a
Duka yake
placard
ifungwe.
in hospitals back in the day. Sijui mbona waliacha kuihang. Ile ya, we treat, God heals. Remember ukiona stuff?
yeah.
Zilienda wapi?
Ni kama
But ni
wanaamini
sawa.
siku hizi hao ndo na heal.
Anyway, like he said, like, share, please, suggestions in the comments, criticisms, opinions, your own experience, encourage someone in the comment section. If you need help, you can ask for help even in the comment section, and someone might be able to help you.
I
Yeah.
think we'll put the church's number in this episode.
Yeah, for sure.
So that if you need someone to talk to, you can just
Call a
holler.
pastor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we will have someone to talk to you. Yes. So with that being said, cheers.
Cheers and bye-bye.